This conference will now be recorded.
So today we are going to see about multi-threading concept. So already we know briefly about this multi-threading concept. So multi-threading. So before going to explain the concept of multi-threading, let us see a small example regarding this multitasking and multi-threading so that you can get a clear idea what is meant by multitasking and what is meant by multi-threading. So if we consider our computer, for example, if you see the screen now, see the screen, you are having how many applications? See, here GoToMeeting is there, here GoToMeeting, and next one is programs and features, next one is Paint is open, next one some two files are open. These are all these things are processes, or we can consider it as a process based multitasking. Here multiple processes are going to execute at the same time. So these are called as what? Multi-processing, or we can call it as a process-based multitasking. If multiple processes are going to execute simultaneously, as you see in my computer or in your screen, there are multiple tasks are going to run at the same time. So these are called as what? This concept is called as what? Multi-processing, or we can call it as a process-based multitasking. Now let us see about multi-threading. So if I consider a small example of your Facebook, or let us consider I am going to consider a small example of this GoToMeeting app. So when I am going to talk, at the same time I can do other tasks. That means I can scroll my screen and, up and down. In the same way, at the same time I can type the chat. That means in the same process, I am having multiple subtasks are going to be there. Okay, I'm going to repeat once again. If we consider only one process, for example, GoToMeeting is a one process. Inside that process, we are going to have sub processes like recording is one sub process. Next one is chatting, typing is one process. Next one is scrolling is another process. Okay, for example, otherwise the share screen is one more subtask. Okay, so for example, these three are different subtasks or sub processes that are present in a process called as GoToMeeting. So each and every subtask in a process will be executed by a thread. That means whenever we are going to talk about a thread, that means it is a lightweight process. Why we are going to call thread as a lightweight process? Means thread is going to execute a sub process. Why we are saying it is a lightweight? If you are going to consider entire process, it is huge. Now what we are doing, this thread is going to do what? It is not going to execute entire process. In that we are having sub processes or sub tasks. Each and every subtask is going to be executed by one thread. Okay, so we are calling our thread as a lightweight process. So I think you got some idea now. So this is called as thread-based multitasking. Whenever we are going to consider multi-threading, we are going to consider only one process, and inside that we are going to consider sub-processes. But whenever we are talking about multi-processing or process-based multitasking, we are talking about multiple processes. Okay, this is the concept of thread-based multitasking and process-based multitasking. So if you see this example, so who is going to focus on these processes? Already you are having a subject called as operating system. So there we are having the process management. So process management will be done by whom? Operating system. Okay, it is going to be done by operating system. For a small example of this process-based multitasking is, if in your computer while you are typing a Java programming editor, that means editor is one process. At the same time, I'm going to listen MP3 songs, and at the same time, I'm going to download some file to my computer. That means at the same time, how many processes are going to be executed here in my computer? Three. This concept is called as multi-processing. So this type of multitasking is best suitable for OS level. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about thread-based. So here, when you are going for a thread-based, it is best suitable for programmatic level. That means our Java. So it is a thread based. Okay, that means in our Java, we are going to use the concept of threads. Thread means what? It executes what? Sub process. Okay. So here I have to explain some more points about this multi-threading. So after dividing a subtask, for example, I'm going to show you by drawing. Now see, for example, I am having a 1 minute. So for example, here I am going to draw. For example, here you are going to have one process. This is one process P, for example. Inside this, we are going to have some sub processes. So see, three sub processes are there. So here externally, this is considered as process. And if you are going to consider some other processes, some Q, for example, and here some more one more process that is R. If we are going to consider entire processes, it is called as multi-processing. If I am going to consider only process, and inside that sub processes are there, so each and every sub process will be executed by one thread. So here this will be executed by thread 1, this will be executed by thread 2, and this will be executed by thread 3. That means, now tell me one small thing, that while T1 is executing, is T2 executing or not? Is there any need of depending on T1? So this is separate subtask, this is separate subtask, and this is also a separate subtask. Is there any need of waiting for by T2 towards T1? No, there is no need of waiting for one another, because T1 task is this one, this subtask, T2 task is this subtask, and 3T task is this subtask. So here every thread is not depending on another. That means we can call this one as what? Independent. So each and every thread is independent. Okay, this is the concept. So now let us see multi-threading definitions. Okay, so if you see here, executing several tasks simultaneously, where each task is separate independent part of the same program. So see here, these are separate independent processes or program. Okay, sorry, these are sub processes inside only one same program or same process. This concept is called as what? Thread based multitasking or multi-threading. So here what? Each and every part we can consider it as an independent part. So each and every independent part is going to be executed by one thread. Okay, right. So here where these threads are going to be used, where these threads are going to be used, we are in many areas we are going to use this threading concept, and generally here it is a programmatic level only, it is not operating system level. Okay, now, so this is the difference between your multi-threading and multi-processing. Okay, now we are going to see about how to create a thread, how to instantiate and start a thread. Okay, easy concept. Okay, directly I am going to the point. So already we have seen about what is meant by multi-threading and what is meant by multi-processing. In this unit, we are focusing about only multi-threading. So first concept is how to create a thread. So we are having two ways to create a thread. Okay, one way is by extending a thread class, by extending thread class. Next one is by implementing a runnable interface. We are having in two ways we can create a thread. One is by extending a thread class. Second one is by implementing a runnable interface. So first I am going to explain about by extending a thread class concept. That means we are going to create a thread by using a thread class. So before going to say this, you should understand, you should know something about this one. That is what? Thread is a class. Second concept is what? How to run by implementing runnable interface. That means their runnable is an interface. Thread is a class. Okay, now we are discussing about, we are going how to create a thread by using thread class. So see here, if you see this example, I have created one class named as multi-threading. So this multi-threading is going to do what? It is going to extend a class called as thread. Okay, now Here, inside this, I'm going to write some run. All these things you don't know initially. So I will explain this one. Before explaining this program, I will explain what are the things that are present in a thread, what all the things that are present in a runnable. All these things initially I will explain so that you will get clear clarity before going to see this example. Now see, initially what I said, runnable is an interface. Okay. And so internally, this runnable is implemented by a class called as thread. Okay. Internally, thread class is going to implement which interface? It is going to implement an interface called as runnable. Okay. Already you know what is meant by an interface. Interface means what? In that interface, we are having only abstract methods, and in 1.8% we are having default methods also. So, but in this runnable, we are having only one method. The name of that method is run method. Okay. The name of that one is what? Run method. One and only method that is present in runnable is run method. Its definition is like, declaration is like public void run. So this is a run method which is present in runnable. So thread has to implement this runnable. That means what? Internally thread class is going to implement what? Runnable. That means thread class has to give the definition for your run method. Okay. So it has given. How it has given means, just it has not given any definition, just it has given a empty body. Okay. Once again, I am going to explain. A runnable is an interface which contain only one method without a body, which is an abstract method. The method name is run method. So internally, your thread class is going to implement an interface called as runnable. So that what is the task of thread? It has to implement run method. So thread has taken the method from runnable and it has implemented that. But while implementing, internally your thread has not given any body to that run method. That means your run method in thread class is empty. Remember this point, very important point. Run method in your thread class is what? Empty. All right. This is the concept you should understand about your thread class. Okay. Next. Now you have understand about run. Run is an interface which has only one method called as run method, and which is implemented by a thread class. So that in thread class, what we are having? Run method with empty body. There are many methods in our thread class, but directly I'm not going to discuss everything now. Uh, if we go on, I will explain about these methods whenever we go to that topic. But now we are coming to run topic, so run method, so that I have explained about run method. There is one more important method is there in this one, that is called as start method. Very important method. Without the start method, there is no thread. Remember that. Okay. Start method is also important method. So first, for now, we are going to discuss about start method and run method. So already run method is empty method, you know that. Start is a method present in thread class. So if a thread want to start the execution of a run method, again I am repeating, if a thread want to execute a run method, then it has to initially execute a start method. That means without executing a start method, thread will not go to run method. So how your start method will be there? So see, for example, this is a start method. In this, we are going to have many lines are there. So about that lines we will discuss later. Many lines are there. So that finally we are going to have a call called as run method. In this, internal call is what? Run method. That means if you call, if your thread calls a start method, it automatically calls what? Run method. Okay. This is the concept. So briefly I will explain now. Runnable is an interface in which it is having only one method called as run. Internally, thread class is going to implement runnable, so that your thread has to give a body for that run method. It has given a body which is empty, and your thread class is having many methods. But as per our requirement now, we are going to consider only two methods. One is run and another one is start. Start is having multiple lines, but we are not going to discuss about them. Last line of your start is what? Run. That means whenever we are going to call a start method, it will execute all these lines and finally it calls what? Run method. So you have to understand this concept now. So now we can go to our program. Now, okay. Now see, here I'm going to consider my thread class. In my thread is going to extend what? My thread is going to extend your thread. My thread extends thread. That means,
This conference will now be recorded.
okay. Now we are going to see a class called as my thread. In that my thread, it is going to extend what? Thread. In thread, how many methods are there? There are many methods, but for now we are focusing on what? Only two methods. Those two methods are what? One is run method, another one is start method. For now, you remember only these two methods. Later, go on, we will see different methods in your thread class. For now, remember that your thread class is having two methods. Those two methods are what? One is run method, okay? Another one is start method. So two methods are there, okay? Right. Now, so here who is extending this thread? My thread. That means these two methods are available to this my thread. Already you know in this start what we are having. Already you know in this run what we are having. Okay. Now, so I have given some definition for this run. Okay. First, let us go to main, and later we will come back to here so that it is easy to understand the program. Now see, this is main here. So here what we are doing, initially I am going to create a T. Very important, listen carefully now. So here I am going to create a T. T belongs to whom? Which class? T belongs to my thread. In my thread, what is there? So T is my thread. Initially it has extends what? My thread. So sorry, it has extends thread class. That means it is having two methods. For example, those are run method with empty body. Run method with what? Empty body. And also start method. Already you know with start method also with empty, start method is with some body. Start method is with some body initially. But after what we are doing, we are going to override this one. So how we are going to override that? See here. So I am going, this empty body is going to be replaced with this one. See here. Here, this run method, this empty run method is going to be replaced with this one now. That means this entire body is present here now. That means in T, we are having a run method with some body. Now see, okay, with some body we are having start method also we are having some body now. So this is T. We can call it as a thread because my thread is going to extend what? My thread is extending your thread class. That means your my thread is getting the properties of thread class. So we can also consider my thread is also having the properties of thread. Now I'm going to create what? My thread space T equal to new my thread. So in this way we are having, for example, there are many other methods which are present in thread. We will have in this, but we are focusing only on run and start. Now what I am calling T dot start. That means inside this object we are having start or not? Yes. Whenever I am going to execute start, it is going to call the start method and it will execute all these statements. And finally, what method will be there here? Run method will be there. So that internally a call will go to run method. Now the concept is which run method it is going to call. Now who calls start method? T calls start method. So T calls start method. So in T, what is the run method we are having? This run method. So whenever start method is going to invoke a run method, directly the control goes to here. Okay. So now what is meant by run now? Already we are having the definition here. What is meant by run? So whenever we are going to start here, automatically what happens? two threads are going to be created. First thing I have to tell you what, who is going to execute this program. This entire code is present in where? Your public static void main. So internally your JVM is going to create one thread initially. The name of that thread is main thread. Main thread is going to be created by your JVM. So we are not going to create this thread. This thread is going to be created defaultly by JVM. The task of this main thread is to execute this main method. Now tell me, who executes this first statement? My thread t equal to new my thread, main thread. So who is going to call this t dot start? T dot start is going to be called by, see, t dot start is executing by whom? Main method. So the statement is executed by main method. The statement is executed by main method. Now listen. So whenever main method is going to execute this one, then here two threads are going to be created. For example, it is t, and next one more method here. One more thread we are having what here? Main. That means we are having how many? From this step we are having two threads. One is t, another one is main. So now the task of main is what? To execute this one. The task of t is to what? To execute run method. Alright, I told you that. So if a thread is there, those threads are going to have different tasks. So when t is going to execute run method, main will execute this method. Sorry, this for loop. Okay, once again I'm repeating the same thing. Whenever who is executing this t dot start, main method will execute. When it is executing t dot start, already t is there, but now by executing t dot start, we are going to have what? We are going to get one more thread.
This conference will now be recorded.
Now see here, this state already here one thread is created, but after thread is created, we have to do what? It has to execute something. So when it is going to start execution, when main thread is going to execute this one t dot start, then t is getting some task to execute. Okay, okay. Now here two threads are there. One is t, another one is main. That means from now two threads are going to execute simultaneously. So what is the t task now? To execute a run method. What is the main method? Sorry, main thread task to execute remaining code of main method. Now see, t task is to execute the run method which is above. Okay, see here. So t task is to execute this for loop because it is in where? Run method. So the task of t is to execute this run method. That means this is the thread task. Okay, to execute run method. Next, while t is executing this one, what main method will do? At the same time, it will execute main thread. Okay, once again, I'm telling, whenever t is going to execute this run method, simultaneously main thread is going to execute this for loop. That means child thread is going to execute a child thread 10 times, and at the same time your main thread is also going to execute your for loop 5 times. Now can we expect the output? Both are executing simultaneously. That means output may be what? Child thread, main thread, child. We can't expect because both are executing simultaneously. For example, if two students are talking at simultaneously to other person, what he will get, what he can receive? Both the voices at the same time. That means here child thread is going to execute this one and main thread is going to execute this one. That means both are going to execute simultaneously. So can we expect the output? No, we can't expect the output. Sometimes that means the output may be in mixed. That means main thread, child thread, child thread, child thread, main thread, child thread, so on. We can't expect the output. Sometimes we may get what? Child thread 10 times, and sometimes we may get what? Main thread 5 times. Otherwise, in another case, we may get what? First main thread 5 times, and next case, child thread 10 times. Or we can get the mixer also. That means one time main thread, remaining 9 times child thread. After main thread 4 times. After that, one child thread. We can't expect the output. Okay, in this way we can do that. Okay, in this way it is going to execute. This is the example of your starting program of multi-threading. You have to understand this one. Okay, now we are going to see what is meant by scheduler, thread scheduler, and all other things. Now see, thread scheduler. First, we have to discuss about thread scheduler. So, what is meant by thread scheduler means already before I said you what start is going to perform some tasks, some statements are there. Now I'm going to discuss about those statements, what those statements are going to do. Okay, so in that, so for small example, before you are coming to the class, for example, now you are joining a first year. That means if you are going to come to the college into your section, for example, first CSC A or CSC B. So to enter into that section, before coming to that section, you have to perform some tasks. What are those tasks? For example, you have to get a rank, MSET rank. So you have to attend the council. You have to submit, you have to select the college, and you have to, after selecting the college, you have to come to the college and you have to submit your certificates. After doing all these process only, you are going to sit into a class, inside a class called as first CSC B. Okay, without doing all these tasks, will ever can you sit in the class? No. In the same way, if thread want to execute anything, first the mandatory things are there. That means a thread has to be when thread is going to create, it should have some priority has to be given, and some group has to be given to that, and so on. Many mandatory things are there before starting the execution by a thread. So now let us see what are those things. So if multiple threads are executing, then which thread will execute first decided by thread scheduler. That means, for example, already you know process management. So if you want to execute a process, if there are multiple processes are there, if you want to execute a process one, for example, who is going to tell to execute a process one first and process two second? It is not decided by the user. It is decided by what? Process scheduler. In the same way here also, we are having what? If you are going to, if you see, we are talking about threads. That means if threads are multiple threads are there, which threads has to execute first? It is the concept. So who is going to see all these things? Thread scheduler. Okay, next, how thread scheduler is so where thread scheduler will be there? It is a part of your JVM. So thread scheduler uh, is responsible of execute threads are going to be executed based on the algorithm that is executing by your thread scheduler. Where will be your thread scheduler? Thread scheduler is a part of your JVM. Now, as as you have seen in our operating system process scheduling algorithms, there what we are going to have in process scheduling algorithms, we are having different algorithms like FCFS and SJF and many round robin priority, many algorithms are there. In the same way, here also for thread scheduler, there are many algorithms that can implement, but which algorithm it will implement? We don't know that because we have not developed that JVM. Who developed that JVM? Vendor. That means those who are selling that one, those who are developing that one, they have developed so that it is dependent on vendor, JVM vendor. We are not responsible of that algorithm because how it is going to select? It is dependent on algorithm. Who places that algorithm in JVM? Those who are developing this JVM. So it is dependent on vendor. Anyway, let us see the points. Okay, so if multiple threads are waiting to execute, then which thread will execute first is decided by thread scheduler, which is a part of JVM. Which algorithm or behavior followed by a thread scheduler we can't expect exactly. It is JVM vendor dependent. That means we can't expect which algorithm it is executing or it is using. It is based on what? JVM vendor. So hence in multi-threading examples, we can't expect exact execution order. So that in before example, what I told to you, the output may be mixed, irregular. Okay, that means what? Main thread can be once and child thread can be twice, again main thread, again child threads, again child threads, again main thread, or it may be anything. In some cases, what first main thread can be printed, after child thread can be printed. In other cases, first child thread can be printed, other next child main threads can be printed. So output can be anything. Okay. So that is a case of thread scheduler. So see, for the above program, there are possibilities of the output in this way, but here all are the same outputs they have given. Anyway, I will not show this one. Okay. Now, so very important cases I am showing to you. Listen carefully. So now see. So here already we have seen T dot start. So what is the difference between T dot start and T dot run? So I am going to discuss now. So whenever you are going to execute a start method, then internally run method will be created. Listen once, without start method, thread is not going to be executed, executing run method. Compulsory if start method is executed only, internally run method will be called. Okay, then only we will say that thread is created and thread is executing run method. Without start method, thread is not going to be created. That means if we want to go to the concept of multi-threading, compulsory start method has to be executed. Again, I'm repeating, if a thread want to execute anything, whatever the thread want to execute, that code will be present in where? Run method. So if a thread has to be created and if it wants to execute anything, initially it has to call which method? Start method. Without calling a start method, thread will not be created and it will not execute run method. So now let us see what is the difference between T dot start and T dot run. So in the case of T dot start, new thread will be created which is responsible for the execution of run method. Remember this point. So already we have seen this case. Whenever we told T dot start, last what we are having run method is there. So that automatically that run method is going to execute. So thread is created and many mandatory things are going to be done there. And finally, what is going to be happen? Your run method is going to be called. That is the case now here. But in the case of T dot run means what? Just I am going to call just like a normal method. That means what? If you're going to create an object, then T dot run means what? It is going to call it directly. So I will show you the difference by drawing a small diagram. So see here. So for example, this is an object. Now the name of this one is T. Now here, for example, we are having some methods called as run method. Okay, and in this some code we have seen there. Okay, now this is code which is present in run method in my thread class. In the same way here, start method is there. Okay, now let us consider this is start method. Now if I call this one and at last what we are having run method is there. So it will jump to here. If we execute start method only, thread will be created and that thread will execute run method. If we are not going to call start method, what happens? So directly if you call T dot run, what happens? That means it is a direct method call. For example, we are having a class called as A. In that I am having a method called as add, for example. Okay, we are having a method called as add method. So if I want to call this add method, what I have to do? So I have to create an object of type what? A, for example, A space A equal to new A. Okay, new A. This is the object creation for A class. So now if I want to call add method, what I have to do? Just I have to call A dot add. That's enough. So this in this case, is there any thread created? Is there any concept of thread? No. In the same way, if I call T dot run, this is same as T dot run. This is normal method call only. So if you want to create a thread, compulsory you have to call what? T dot start initially. Your start method will call internally a run method. Okay. So now see. But in the case of T dot run, no new thread will be created and run method will be executed just like a normal method by the main thread. Okay. Now this is the case. So if I call, for example, if I call T dot run, there is no concept of T dot start. In the place of T dot start, I place T dot run in the above program. What happens? See now, I will show you. in this program, in the place of this one, I place t dot run. Now tell me what happens. So t will be created. Whenever I call t dot run, when I place here t dot run, what happens? Control goes from here to, it will go to this run method. Here it goes and it will execute. So who is going to execute this one? Which thread? Main thread. Because here child, I am not assigned this task to child thread. Who assigns the task to child thread? Your start method. Did I call start method? No. So that your main method comes here and it will execute this one. That means what? First it will print what? Child thread how many times? 10 times. After completing printing 10 times of this child thread, again it will go back to where? Again it will come back to here, this point. Now again it will execute what? Main thread. That means if I call in the place of t dot start, if I run t dot run method, then what happens? You are going to get output, that is first all 10 child threads and after that 5 main threads. This is the difference between t dot start and t dot run. Okay, next. So now we are going to see what is the importance of start method. So already we have discussed briefly before starting the concept. That is what in start method, every mandatory things that thread has to be performed will be there. Okay, so now let us see what are the things, what are the mandatory things that will be there. Now for every thread, that required mandatory activities like registering the thread. Already I said, whenever you are coming to the college, you have to register to that college initially. That means what? You have to submit the certificates, you have to take roll number, all these things you have to do initially before sitting into the class, for example. So with thread scheduler, okay, register like registering the thread with thread scheduler will takes care by thread class start. So when we have to register our thread to the thread scheduler, so okay, who will take care about that? Start method. And programmer is just responsible to what? To write a run method. You are not going to assign the thread to thread scheduler, and you are not going to perform any internal activities of this, of assigning the priority, all these things you are not going to do. Your start method will see everything. It is going to register our thread to the thread scheduler, and it is going to give the priority, and it is going to give its group, and many other activities, mandatory activities will be done by start. So what is your task? Your task is just to write a run method. That's it. Okay, right. That is, start method acts as best assistant to the program. That means we are not going to do anything, just we are going to write our job. Where we are going to write our job? We are going to define our job in a run method. So just we have to call start. Internally start method is going to call what? Your run method. Our task is write what? To write what? The code of a run method. Okay, that is the concept. Now, so we can conclude that without executing thread class start method, there is no chance of starting a new thread in Java. Already I have discussed in the differences between t dot start and t dot run. Without executing a start method, thread will not be created and thread will not run. Okay. So due to this, we can consider our start method as heart of multi-threading. So don't remember that heart of multi-threading. Just remember that start method is very, very important in your multi-threading concept. Without start method, there is no multi-threading, because without start method, we cannot create a thread. Okay, that is the concept. Now, let us see, if you are not overriding run method, that means in above case, what we have done in multi-threading, see here, the same example is there in the, we have seen in 5 minutes back. So what happens? Class my thread extends thread, and here inside this one, what we are having? Public void run, and inside that we are having for loop, and inside that I am going to print what? 10 times child thread. But now what I am doing? I am not going to override. That means initially what happens here? Thread class is having, for example, two methods for now: run method and start method. So those two methods are given to whom? My thread. Okay. Now the run method in thread class is having what? Empty body. So that is present in my thread now. Did your my thread is going to override that one here? No, it is not overriding it. Okay. But here my run method is present, which is given by thread now. Okay. Remember that point. Now here my thread tree is created. So this T can act as a thread, because here extends thread is there. So my thread is also getting the properties of thread. Now t dot start, what happens? T dot start means what happens? Thread is going to register to the thread scheduler. It is going to get some priority. It is going to join to into some group. All these activities will be done in our start method. But finally, last step is what? Last step is it is going to call a method called as run method. Whose run method it is going to call? Who called start method? T dot start. T is going to call the start method. In the same way, the run method that is related to T will execute. T belongs to whom? My thread. Is there any run method in my thread? Here it is not there, but internally it is present. What is internal run method that is present in my thread? Thread class run method. That means in thread class run method, what is there? Empty body is there. That means what happens here? T dot start, it will execute all the start method and it will call, it will go to here and it will call run method. Here no run method, so it will take the run method of thread class and it will execute that empty thing. So if you are going to execute a empty run method, what will be the output? Nothing will be your output. Okay, but here thread is created. So here T dot start means what? Here we are going to create a thread and that thread is going here and main thread execution will come here. Is there anything to execute for main thread? No, main thread execution is nothing here, and after T dot start nothing is there for main thread. After T dot start what happens? T is going here and executes run method which is having no body. At the same time main thread comes here, main thread also ended here. So your output is what? Nothing is going to print it. So now after this example you should have two things in your mind. First thing is what? If you want to create, if you want to go to a concept of multi-threading, or if you want to execute the concept of multi-threading program, compulsory start method has to execute. Next one is what? Second case is what? Compulsory run method has to be overloaded. If run method is not overloaded here, what is going to be happen? Thread class run method will be executed. These two things are very important. Start method has to be executed to call run method, and run method has to be overloaded. Sorry, overridden. Compulsory it has to be overridden. So see, it is highly recommended to override run method. Otherwise, don't go for multi-threading on. Yes, if you are not going to override run method of thread class, what happens? In this way, we are going to get. If you are going to get in this way, what is the need of coming to multi-threading? So compulsory. If you are going for the concept of multi-threading, first thing you have to execute start method, and second thing you have to override the method called as run method. These two are important things. Okay. Now, if we are going to overload, what happens? No problem. Always your start method calls a run method with empty body. Sorry, run method with no parameters. Again, I am repeating. So, can we overload a run method? Yes, we can overload a run method. So, what happens if I call start method? What is the last step of start method? Generally, it is going to invoke a run method. Which type of run method it will execute? It will execute a run method which is having a declaration like public void run, and it should have empty parameters. Then only it will execute that. That means it will come here. It will not go to here, your start method. So then who has to call this method? We have to call this one externally, like t dot run of 10. We have to call it as externally. But to call this one, just if you call start method, internally it calls what? This run method. But if you want to call this one parameter constructor, sorry, one parameter method, who has to call it? We have to call externally. So I will show you that example here. Now in this my thread, how many runs are there? Two runs are there. Okay, one is without parameter, another one is with parameter. Now here I have created T. Now tell me, T belongs to which class? My thread class. Inside our my thread class, how many run methods are there? We are going to have two run methods. So this is what T. Okay, in this what we are having? One run method without parameter. So it is having some body is there for this run method. Okay, next second one is what? We are going to have one more, that is what? Run of some one parameter. So here it is also having some body. Okay, this is the case. And here we are having start method also. Why we are having start method? T belongs to whom? My thread. My thread is going to extend what? Thread class. So in thread class we are going to have start method. So for example, we are going to consider only start method and run method here. This is the case after this step. Now what I am doing? T dot start. So when I'm going to call t dot start, the start method will be executed. What is the last step of start method? So in last step, what will be the run method will be there. So to which run method it will jump? It will go to a run method which is not having any parameters, where in t. Now tell me, in t I am having two run methods. So where my run method, where my control goes to? Only for empty one. That is what the difference has to be. Looks like what? Public void run. So it will go to here only and will execute this one. That means what will be the output here? So if you see the output, it will go to this empty one, and it is going to print what? No arg method. So output will be what? No arg method. This will be the output. Okay, sir, what about one parameter? Who has to call it? I have to call externally. Sir, how we can call that one? Here thread is no need of creating a thread. So that means just to write down that, 1 minute, t dot some run of, for example, 10. Write down this way. Then what happens? This will call your run method with single parameter. That means what? It will go here, and the value what it is passed here 10, and it's going to print what? Int arg method. Here in this case thread is not created, but in this case thread is created. In this case, why thread is created? Tell me. Here start method is there. So thread is created and run method is called. But in this case, what happens? Just I am going to call this run method with single parameter with as a normal method. So this is the you have to understand how if there is a overloading of run method is there, how the methods are going to be executed. Okay. Now overriding of start method. So now tell me, in thread class we are having a start method. So in start method, what is there? In start method, all the mandatory activities are there. Okay, that is what? Registering the thread, giving the priority, and adding the thread to a group. All these things will be done by a start method which is present in thread. So see, in this case, what happens? Tell me. Thread is going to giving the properties to my thread, for example. So that means what? Start is given to this. Initially, what happens? Start in thread method is present in my thread, and run method in thread is present in my thread. That means what? Run method is having empty body. So I have overwritten. From now, if I ask run method of my thread, it will show this one. So if I ask start method, it will not give me thread now. Already it is overridden here. So it will give me what? Start method only. This start method only. That means it will not give me thread class start method because it is overridden here. So if I call start method here in this example, see here, if I call t dot start, it will come here and it will execute start method. It will not go to thread class start method. If your control not goes to thread class start method, your thread is not going to be initiated. Remember that. So compulsory, every thread has to execute a start method in thread class. You know what? From thread class, I got my thread class got the start, but it has overridden it. So now my thread means whatever t knows only this start method only. It's not it is not knowing any start method that is present in thread class because it has overridden it. So t dot start means directly it will jump here and it will print this one. And again, after printing start method, it will come main thread. So here run method will not execute. Okay, this is the main important point. Okay, so see, start method is printed first. After that only main thread is going to print it. So entire method is produced by only main thread because tail thread is not created because we have not started that. We have not updated. We have not executed a method start method in thread class. Okay, so it is never recommended to override start method. Here, by this discussion, you should understand one more point, that start method compulsory. It is not recommended to override start method. Which method is recommended to override start method? Sorry, run method. Which method is not recommended? Start method. Which method is recommended? Run method. Remember this one. Okay, right. So if you see this example, you can understand clearly. So already we have seen this one. So whenever I call, what happens? Your control jumps here. That means main method will come here and it will execute this one. After executing this, what happens? Again, control will come back to here and it will execute this statement. So output is what? Main thread and it will print what here? T dot start, what happens? It will go here and it will print start method, and again it will print main method. So here this is not correct. Okay, don't mind this one. The answer is what? Start and main. This is the case. Right, now example 2. So now, sir, I will write start, sir, in my program. I want to write start. And I also want to call a start method which is present in a thread. So in this way, you write down t dot start means it will go here. Internally write what? Super dot start. Super dot start means what? Where you are now in my thread class. So what is the super class of this my thread class? Thread class. So this call goes to where? The start method that is present in thread class. That means what happens here? Internally one thread is going to be created. Next, what happens? Automatically here one thread is going to be created and it calls this run method. So what happens? Initially we may not assume the main method came here and it calls what? It creates one thread here and it executes main method, executes start method and leave go back to this main method. That means what? First we may get run method, after that start method, or we may get start method after run method. So one point is compulsory, that is what? After start method only main method will be executed. Reason is what? After this statement only we are having this statement. So t dot start, what happens? It will go here, and who is going here? Main thread is going here, and it creates one more thread here. That means what? From this step we are having two threads. One is main, another one is child thread. So child thread task is what? To execute this run method. Main thread task is what? To execute this one, and it go back to this one and will execute this one. That means main thread will execute compulsory start method. Later only it will execute main method. That means what? When compared to start method and main method, compulsory we can say that start method will execute. Start method will be printed first. Later only main method, and next we will get what? Run method. So output may be run method, start method, main thread. Otherwise start method, main method, run thread. Otherwise sometimes it may be it may also possible that start method, run method, main method also, we may not assume. Okay, because main thread is going to print what? Start method and main thread, and child thread is going to print run method. Both are executing simultaneously, so we can't say which one is going to be executed first. So this is the case. So with this I am going to end this session. In next session we will see second concept, that is